going to gel? And what are the Cavs going to be? And can the Cavs, continue the dominance that they've had in the Eastern Conference? You know, um, so I'm going to go back to the Wait a Minute Show chat room and read some of the comments from the listeners. We already talked about Mac Farrell saying he's looking forward to see which team get the number one draft pick. Angry Black Man said, will the Pistons make the playoffs? Are the Cavs for real? Is OKC the team no one wants to face? That's a good one, Angry Black Man. I like that one. I should have included that one. I'm glad you put that in there because OKC could be that team that is a dream destroyer. You go in there and you take them lightly, and next thing you know, we're sitting at home watching the playoffs. Will the Pistons make the playoffs? That's going to be a good question. Can they make a run and get back in? Especially, them having such a good start to the season, and then they fell off, like literally fell off the cliff. That's something to watch. Will Harden and Kyle Lowry disappear again in the playoffs? Can Kyrie carry the Celtics? Is Miami dangerous? So these are a lot of questions Angry Black Man has had. I don't know if he was at the production meeting, but he wrote all this down right away. So maybe there's some stuff he had to get off his heart. But these are all valid questions that he has on here that we should be looking at as the season goes on. I love the OKC one. We talked about Harden. We don't include Kyle Lowry like we include Harden. So you're absolutely right on there. We did ask the question: can Kyrie carry a team? And we were saying, can he carry a team with Gordon Hayward? Now we're talking about without Gordon Hayward, and is Miami dangerous? You got D Wade back, so you got to think something good can be going from there. Cedric Galloway said, I just want to see the Lakers play well the second half of the season. Yeah, because this is an audition. If this whole thing, LeBron and PG 13 and all this stuff, not saying that they're going to go there, but you do want to put on some type of audition tape to show where you started and where you've where your season ended and the progression that you've made. So yeah, if they play well the second half, that you never know, that may help them out, in free agency this upcoming year instead of having to wait 2019 like some of the reports is talking about. Mel Cabela said, will Lonzo Ball break his leg so we won't have to hear from LeVar Ball? That's so mean. Mocha, stop it. Mac Farrell said he not sold on the Celtics. Said Galloway said Kyle Lowry needs to decompress before the playoffs and not during the playoffs. And Mocha Bell said Toronto going to get swept like last year. Boston is suspect is what Mac Farrell is talking about. And last but not least, Mac Farrell said, I wouldn't be surprised if the Celtics lose in the first round. And Mocha Bell said Harden is going to come up short again. So that is some things that me and the listeners here on the Wait a Minute Show was talking about that you guys can keep tab on, and we'll keep watch that and go from there. We'll talk about it later on, how some of this stuff maybe a change and some of this stuff became true. Still out there, the Minnesota Timberwolves, are they going to be that dangerous team? Jimmy Butler didn't play in the playoffs. In the All-Star weekend, saying he resting his body. So that's another thing to keep an eye on. You say you needed rest on your body. Now let's see what happened with that rest. See if you can go into that zone that you need to go in to help the Timberwolves get over the hump. So last thing, normally I would have been signing out of here, and time has been flying. But I got to do it. I got to do the Big L Award. And if you haven't heard this story, there was a young lady, I can't remember her name right now. Let me see if I got it on my device here. Give me 1 second. Well, there was a mother on a Delta airline, and I don't have the name right now. And she was with her 8-month-old baby. And if you've heard of this in the chat room, just say yes or no. She was on the plane with her 8-month-old baby, and 8-month-old babies are 8-month-olds baby. They make noises, they cry, they whatever. So the video is on a cell phone, and the video captures it, in the middle of the whole situation. But there's a young lady sitting next to her, and I hate to say her name, but I gotta say it. Her name is Susan Perez, and you hear her saying, I'm not sitting by a crying baby. And then the mother says he's, to Susan, he's not going to cry the whole time. And this lady, Susan, she's just upset for whatever reason. Something is going on. We don't know what's going on, but she is upset, and she's just like, I'm not sitting next to this baby. And she's making this whole big thing. The flight attendant. Now, this flight attendant is named Tabitha. You do not see Tabitha's face on this video, but Tabitha comes down to assess the situation and basically trying to figure out what's going on. And this lady, Susan, says, you know what? I'm not sitting next to this kid. I'm not sitting next to her. You got to get me another seat. And Tabitha is saying, basically, we can't get you another seat. And she's like, And she goes, there's 2 seats across from her. She goes and puts her stuff there and basically, sending a message like, yo, I'm not sitting there. I got to make this flight. I got to get, to where I need to go. And then so Tabitha says, well, hey, we can, because the lady is not being nice. Susan is not being nice. And she says, Tabitha, the flight attendant, she says, well, we can get you on the next flight. And she was like, no, I'm not, I'm not doing that, and so Susan doesn't like the solution that Tabitha has come up with. And here's where keeping it real goes wrong. She says to Tabitha, the flight attendant, she said, I want your name. And so Tabitha gives her name and her employee number. And she says to Tabitha, thank you, Tabitha. You may not have a job tomorrow. And at that point, Tabitha professionally snapped. And you could hear Tabitha saying, I want this lady off the plane. And right there, when keeping it real goes wrong, Susan's tone totally changed. She was in there like a boss because she was throwing out who she worked for, and all this stuff. And then she says, wait. I got to make this flight. I can't get off. I got to make this flight. And then Tabitha's like, nah, that's it. You're gone, son. You're gone. And she was like, okay, I'm sorry, Tabitha. I apologize. Please, let me stay. And I was just having a bad day, and I was stressed, but I am so sorry. I won't say anything else. I'll be quiet. And this is all the lady Susan is saying to Tabitha, because at this point, she tried to check Tabitha, and Tabitha G-checked her with a professional, we'll get you off this plane, because I can't have this going on. Now, fast forward, the video comes out. Of course, everyone is jumping all over this lady and everything. And because she's a government official, she's throwing stuff out there. She gets put on suspension and possibly, if she hadn't already, possibly could lose her job for her behavior on the plane. So here's what I'm talking about. And this is why Susan gets the Big L award. One, the first thing on there, the flight was they were in New York and they were flying to Syracuse. Last time I checked, Syracuse is in New York as well. So it's not like you flying to China or somewhere and you're going to be on there for 8, 9, 10 hours. The other thing is, while the video was going on, the baby was not saying a word. So if you had kids, anybody that has kids or anybody that's been around kids, they start crying, and then you give them a Cheeto, a chip, or a bottle or something like that, and they stop crying, or you start playing with them and everything. So the baby was not crying at the time that you were complaining. And then the last thing, and this really got me, the last thing you want to do on someone that you think you're talking to like you're above them, you got the nerve to try to attack somebody's livelihood and tell them they may not have a job tomorrow because you don't want to sit next to a baby for probably a 30 to 45-minute flight? Come on, man. How rude can you be? You have done this before. score. I don't care if you were having a bad day. I don't care if you were stressed out. That is no excuse. If that's the excuse that I can use, then I can go around slapping folks in the mouth every time I'm frustrated or I had a bad day or something like that. Lopan frustrate me all the time. You don't see me slapping people in the mouth. Exactly, Lopan. So for me, Susan Perez, you on this plane complaining about a baby for a short flight and trying to name drop and then attacking someone's livelihood to say that they may not have a job tomorrow, you can take this big L and shove it.
See? Another loser.
Indeed as well, Lopan. I do not wish this lady to be fired. I just want her to learn her lesson. Because we have all seen people like this and they get away with it majority of the time and people, just overlook it. But this, I am so proud of Tabitha, the way she handled the situation. So kids, I know it's late, but y'all can get up and give it up. Give it up for Tabitha. She handled that very well. You need to get off the plane. There is nothing in that situation where you're attacking someone's livelihood or you're going to go and challenge. Even if you're bluffing, it's not funny. It's not a joke. You're going to call and want someone fired? Fired. Where a job is the way jobs are these days? And who knows how long Tabitha been working there? So I'm going to give her one more time.
See? Another loser.
Indeed.
Yes, indeed as well, man. That just rubbed me the wrong way. That whole thing, I think Tabitha could have dealt with the whole attitude and all that because you deal with that stuff. That comes along with the territory. But where it struck a nerve, it's just like, yo, this is how I feed myself. If I got a family, I pay my bills. We don't know what Tabitha's situation is. She could be, for all we know, I hope not, but she could be living check to check. And because you're trying to make yourself feel better or just because you had a bad day, we're supposed to understand. No, that's not going to get it. So chat room, when we get out of here, says, Susan, get your carry on and get the F off the plane. Yeah. Miss Mocabella said people be having meltdowns in the air. Yes, they do. Max said one of the reasons I hated working at the airport, them passengers will piss you off. Yeah, exactly right. We've seen people who just don't know how to act, and you got to get that. I had to give that big L award. I tried not to, but I had to get one more time for trying to livelihood.
See? Another loser.
Yeah, I had to triple her up with that. So, ladies and gentlemen, that is the end of tonight's show. Who did this beat that we listening to?
Faro Jaro.
Oh, yeah, that's right, Faro Jaro. So, we're going to go ahead and get out of here, man. I appreciate y'all hanging out with me tonight. We got a lot of people in the chat room. My man said Galloway, appreciate you for dropping in, man. Kicking it with my man Kesey. Make sure you tune in tomorrow. Kesey should be on tomorrow, Thursday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Big L is in the building. Miss Mocabella is in the building. My man Matt Farrell is in the building. Angry Black Man dropping that knowledge on us with the basketball. He's in the building as well. Man, my man Mo Cheese, appreciate you for dropping in. Ron, who was in here earlier, I appreciate you for dropping in as well. Boosa, I see you out there. Appreciate you for dropping in. I think I said Galloway. If I not said Galloway, appreciate you for dropping in as well, sir. My man DJ Knox spinning on that chicka. Appreciate you for joining in too, sir. Tiffany Sports and Heels. Tiffany, stop distracting the listeners. Appreciate you for joining in, ma'am. And did I miss anybody? Rough Buff, a.k.a. Fuquan Shabazz, a.k.a. Bill's Mafia. Miss Tori Lee, I see you in here. Appreciate you for dropping in. Clutch Talk Sports, my man Kevin Gray. One day I'll get that autograph. Appreciate you for dropping in as well, sir. And I think that's it. So I'm going to go ahead and get out of here, man. I'll holler at y'all on Saturday, man, and we'll do it all again and have a lot of fun.